Welcome everybody to the pinch, episode number 4, and you already see there should be some quite big differences going on there for you guys. Over here on the left hand side, Yummy Cheese Man, already with a brand new microphone, no stand, so I will have to be holding it up for the entire 60-minute session of the pinch, but it's what I'd like to do for you guys, as well as having a brand new webcam. But I do have to give some shout outs in those regards. So in regards to the microphone, big shout out to Rizzo, who helped out big time, donated some cash to help out with the microphone purchase. And in regards to the webcam, thank you to Wasted, who sent that down, paid for the postage as well. So what an absolute champion. And here with me tonight is Nolski from
Hello,
Rocket League
everybody.
Oceania.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Thanks for having me, Yummy.
Yeah, it's always good to have you on. And I even see tonight you're wearing your Rocket League Oceania hoodie.
It's sufficiently cold in this room, so putting it on.
Yeah, it has been getting a bit hotter, but speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about the week in review. So just
hmm
go over what's been happening in OCE last week. We've been starting to do this lately, and I think there's a few
hmm
interesting things going on, Nolski. So,
Yep. So this week marked the ending of the Cross Pacific Championship Cup tournament between Oceanic teams and the South American teams, which ended in a way that at least I didn't predict, with two Oceanic teams in the final. With Nox, Black Dragons, and CMB getting knocked out just before throughout the losers bracket. So that was an exciting finish to I thought was an illuminating tournament to compare the skill levels, or at least to match the skill levels of the SAM players versus us.
yeah,
And hopefully we can see one of us, or at least perhaps both regions represented in rOCEs. We also had the Sennheiser Classic semi-final, the first one finish. We've got this following week, and apart from that, I mean that's the tournament's done.
yeah, that was also
Mm.
interesting, the OCE versus Sam. For me, I thought, because I hadn't seen Nox play before, so I expected them
hmm
to really show up big, but it does show some talent coming out of OCE, especially on the high ping.
hmm
I'm guessing they play a lot more, but that was a really awesome event. I was glad that I could at least watch.
hmm Yeah, it was a long time coming. Had some organizational issues at the beginning, bit of a language barrier, I
Mm.
suppose, but it all worked out in the end. Yeah,
Yeah, and Sennheiser, the two teams qualified. I think it was
it was
Abyss
Abyss
and
and
Alpha
Alpha
Sydney.
Sydney. Yeah.
So not quite the teams that might have been expected, but I do know Legacy wasn't attending the first qualifier, and they're going to have to go through Monday at 7
Yep.
p.m. to go through if they want to be in the finals. So
hmm
that was a
So
great
Abyss won their first
tournament.
two matches, so
Um,
they had the easy run through, I suppose.
yeah,
Alpha Sydney, however.
if you do want to watch those VODs, don't do it because that was with my old microphone on it, and it was absolutely terrible. Do not watch them. Even though, if you do watch them, actually, do watch them. Turn off the sound, put on some music, because they are some of the most fantastic matches I've seen in OC Rocket League history. They all went down to the wire. There were so many overtimes, and they made the day go really long. But they were really amazing. But yeah,
Yeah.
what else? What else is going on?
Well, the power rankings, we've finally hit over 20 teams again after the OCE shuffle. So some teams cementing themselves in their rosters, some teams leaving. Still, I'm not sure how many more teams will be left, but it's looking good at least at the top six. Let's call the top six, maybe even longer.
Yeah,
For I'm not talking about teams having six solid teams, but like the top six teams will be fighting for that top four position.
yeah, definitely. It's a lot closer, and Best this week really showed up too. So Legacy still holding on to their number one position on the power rankings, but I think only just. as they didn't show up too much this week to many tournaments, and Abyss had a great week with them absent, taking first in Mocket and qualifying for Sennheiser, and I think there are a couple of other results, but they're very, very close to taking back that number one, which I think just even a few weeks ago a lot of people would have been surprised by.
But even a couple of weeks before that, it would have been just as surprising for Abyss to have lost that spot, where Legacy were relatively lackluster throughout that period. But to be fair, that was through a period of change with their roster, with Groovy Grape and Drippy in that lineup. But nowadays, it seems a little bit closer to the two. So it would be interesting next week, maybe even the following week, to see what will happen up to the top.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to watch as well. Like, all these games are really close. If you're watching OCE, now's the time. And not only are they close, but it's great because, in the past, I think you've had those big titans like Atletico for a long time, and before that, Legacy, back when they were known as Sequential, were just the kings, and you're like, okay, well, let's watch Atletico win another tournament. But now you just don't know who's going to win, and it makes for a really amazing viewing. Well, great.
The most surprising for me this week, if I could just interject really quickly, sorry, Yummy, was Alpha Sydney taking Atletico out twice in a best of 5 on the same day, just for Sennheiser to qualify. I expect them to perform well, but if you ask me on paper, the Atletico team versus the Alpha Sydney team, I would put my money on Atletico, not going to lie. So Alpha Sydney showing up, so there could be even a change in 3rd and 4th as well.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting. Alpha Sydney, if they feel comfortable against Atletico, but I think we will be talking about those teams, well, at least Atletico, a little bit later on today, as there are some tournaments coming up, including rOCEt this weekend, the community-run LAN over in Sydney with 4 teams attending, and we're going to have a chat about that. But to start off today, we're bringing in a special guest, and it rolls off the news of workshop integration coming to Rocket League for custom maps, and we're bringing in special guest FrenchFries, who is a custom map maker, and we'll see if we can get him in to the Skype call. There we go. And perfect. We'll need you to unmute your mic. Perfect.
Yes.
We've done it.
I think we're all good.
So we are getting a little bit of reverb from FrenchFries, but we will have to deal with that. And I've got the 2 name tags mixed up, so I will go over the top of that. And we also have FrenchFries' screen.
You should leave it, because all of a sudden I'm young again, so that's good.
Well, I mean, this isn't FrenchFries RL down the bottom here with the big beard. But FrenchFries, just give your webcam a little bit of a reset, as it does seem to have frozen for now. Just while I change around the ordering of this.
I'm a bit jealous. His beard's more impressive than mine.
I mean, it's
it does take a little bit longer than a month to grow. Not
considered the second best beard in OCE as well. So it's
according to Yummy.
So we are waiting for your webcam to get back, and hopefully that does. But for the meantime, a little bit about FrenchFries. He is an ex-professional player, and
I'm still professional. Come on,
guys. Still professional player who doesn't.
It's coming back.
Doesn't he said Invidious? You've said Invidious is coming back how many times now?
Yes, it's almost become a meme now. I don't think anyone believes it.
Yeah. And now, and the reason that we have you on is you're probably the most famousest of all modders and map makers in Rocket League, having done the obstacle course map, the dribble practice map, and now you're working on something new. But that's really exciting, I think, for Rocket League. And and for you in general, I'm going to quickly run a video actually of one of your maps that you're working on, just the your old loop-de-loop map, and hopefully while that's going on, your webcam will fix itself. But can you explain to us a little bit about the stuff or the work that you're doing on these maps?
Oh, it's just basically a while ago, I saw someone else make a kind of, I don't know, just arena where you could dribble around outside, and then I looked at it and I'm like, hey, that's really cool. I wonder if I could do that. And then after basically looking on the Rocket League mod subreddit, I found some kind of beginning tutorials, and then took it from there and started making things like this video now. I'm just trying to make something that's different and fun.
Awesome. And so it must be reasonably easy to get into if you're trying to do this stuff.
Yes and no. Like it's not necessarily easy, but it's not too difficult. Like I don't know, I've got like a lot of background in programming and stuff like that, so most of that sort of side of it comes easy.
Yeah.
I've done like, I don't know, a bit of my own sort of game stuff in past, but there's a lot of good tutorials out there and instructions to help you get started if you are interested, which I encourage people to do because I wanted to play other people's maps as well as mine.
Yeah.
So when you made the obstacle course map, what was the fallout originally? If you remember, that was during there was a post as well on Reddit. I forget what it was, but it was upvoted just as much as your obstacle course map was. So how did that reflect on the work that you put in, and what did you think about it?
Oh, it was good to know that like what I made, everyone else seemed to really love. Like it wasn't just something that I thought would be cool. Everyone else, I got like gilded twice on Reddit and there's like 4,000 something upvotes, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is amazing! Do another one."
What?
Yeah.
Which I didn't do for a long time, but
What
yeah,
I was
and, like,
really impressed by
sorry.
was, you saw all the streamers doing it. Jazer, A-Money. I saw a whole bunch of people doing it, putting up videos. It wasn't just 4,000 people upvoting it on Reddit. It was actually about, I would say that at least 100,000 people watched videos of, top players using your obstacle course, and it was a big change and a big showing of what the community and hopefully maybe a little bit of what the OCE community can really do to drive Rocket League forward.
Mm-hmm. I think 100,000 viewers is cutting it short a little bit. I think if you know a European player called Zumitail was even doing speed runs on your map, trying to beat 12 seconds or 10 seconds, whatever it was. So he had 100,000 views on that video alone.
Yeah.
So it had a massive fallout. And a question I wanted to ask you: were you ever approached along from the release of that map until now? I suppose, were you approached by Sonics at all about integrating or the best way to integrate this stuff into?
I wish I was. it'd be nice to get a job offer and work there or something. Like there are other people who've probably done a lot more than I have for like the modding community. Like a guy called Why Not Steven. He does a lot of the kind of more like, I don't know, back end stuff. He's figured out a lot of what I haven't. Mm-hmm. I just kind of, as I said, I learned from other people's videos and
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I know he was talking with them at some point, but nothing for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's always those people that on a technical level get it, but I think on outside of that, you're probably the most famous or at least the most viewed, and
well, you definitely have the recognition now being promoted through the Rocket League post.
Yeah, yeah. So that moves into our next point quite well. So for those who are watching, Psyonix just released the information that they have workshop integration into Rocket League now. So if you are a custom map modder, then you can start uploading your maps to the workshop and people can simply subscribe and put them in. Previously, you had to have a download, bring it down, copy files around. Sometimes it would overlap other files and it would cause issues if you didn't do it correctly. And now that's very simplified. But from your perspective, French Fries, what does it really mean to you? Is it really a big step in your terms, or like in terms of map modding?
It is big, and it isn't. Like it's basically the first like formal support from Psyonix about. Like they've said before, like you can do whatever you want as long as it doesn't mess with like the online system and stuff. But this is the first like, yeah, we're actually supporting that. We want people to make it, but at the same time, like it's not like I think there's a lot more that they could do for it. Like because I don't know, there's a lot of things are disabled essentially when making maps like this, which they could, I don't know, talk to us or I don't know, give us more tools to create more cool stuff.
Yeah. And there's also, I mean, in a lot of other, games and whatnot, you see in Dota 2 and whatnot, people who are providing this content, who, go out of their way, and you obviously put a lot of time in this. It really shows in what you're doing, but they're monetizing this kind of stuff. And do you think that is sort of the way that Rocket League might go, if that's a possibility? Or do you think it's more just going to stay at a level where you're just trying to add extra content to the community?
I think they're just going. I mean, I haven't really thought about it, but I'd say it's just more for the community. Like, as we all know, Psyonix are pretty good developers, and I don't think that this would be for a monetized option, essentially.
Yeah. Well, hopefully in the future they can, start using the workshop at least in creating those skins, because we do know that cases are a thing, and if people can start generating revenue from different ways in Rocket League, then we're going to see more items, more people who are able to dedicate their time and produce fabulous content. And hopefully, I'm hoping for your sake, French Fries, that that is the same. But
it is early days at this stage. I expect things to come out like once you open a Steam Workshop and you get a whole lot of people with a whole lot of different ideas with the ability to make maps whichever way they want, and we may even see things. You know how like when you win a game and you get to jump on the spot, you're not limited by your movement. You're stuck on the spot. So I imagine that there may be a future application for having some sort of like 2D freestyle race kind of thingy with, I don't know, boost pads up in the air. You got to reach them, you got to do flips and whatever, rather than just the standard third-person view kind of thingy that we're used to. Something completely different. You never know.
Yeah, the thing is, like, anyone can do anything. Like, there's so many possibilities. I've just taken mine one sort of way, but there are other people making different things completely. Like, every map I've made so far has had like a different sort of concept in mind, and I'd love to see what other people can do.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember when the game came out as well. All my friend ever said was, I just wish I could have an obstacle course map where I could jump through hoops and sort of race people. And, it's sort of halfway with yours. You've got that. You perhaps can't have multiple people on the same map. But, it adds just like an extra dimension. And now with it being on the workshop, that's more widely available. But you are working on something coming up.
Yeah.
You saw a little bit of a preview with that on that video. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, at the moment, the small Rocket League mod subreddit that we have is they got like a mini sort of competition on, like just a map making competition, and I'm just making an entry for that, which is the theme for my course is like finish like an obstacle sort of thing within a time. So if you look in the video, there's this giant block just following you as you go. So if you do it too slow, it'll essentially eat you up and you have to start again. So it's just all the levels of it. Like that's just one level of it. The other levels, we just drive it on the ground. You gotta like weave through all the walls, and just like if you hit a wall, you go too slow and you get eaten by this thing. So it's just. I think the theme for all my maps has just been kind of help you get better at Rocket League.
Yeah.
Just improve on some skill of some sort.
Yeah, so that's really awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. I've used both I've used both the dribble and the obstacle course maps. Don't know if you've done anything else, but is there? I think the community there is still budding. I know that you said there's that Rocket League mod subreddit, so there is a thriving community. But how do people sort of enter that? What kind of advice would you give for somebody wanting to get into Rocket League modding or map making?
Yeah, just check out the subreddit. I think there's a pin post. It's like getting started guide. You just got to dive into it. It's not too hard to start off. Like you start off just trying to get a basic platform with a ball, and you can just make your own sort of platform, and then from there you can start putting like teleports and all this other cool stuff in. So just get into it. If you have any questions, I'm always happy to help people get into it. So
Awesome. Well, I think
Is there a website as well? Sorry, a website as well called rocketleaguemods.com. Is that right?
yeah, that's like our current location for sharing maps. So there's a lot of on
Oh,
there.
okay. So that'll be replaced by the workshop.
Yeah, it'll
Okay.
make it a bit easier.
Yep.
Yeah, and speaking of contacting you, is there a best way through perhaps your Twitter or anything else that you'd like people to be able to get in touch with you?
Probably just like Discord, Steam's fine if you want like a personal sort of thing. If not, I don't know. It's always a way to find me.
All right. Well, thank you very much for going on. I will shout out your Twitter is at FrenchFriesRL, and for a lot of people who don't know, he hasn't been using it too much, and by that I mean I forced him to make sure he had it ready before he came on today because he's a little bit lazy in that regard. So give that a follow. Somebody who is a mod, get that link and put it in chat so everyone can follow. You also have a YouTube channel, and that is let me just quickly check. Is it youtube.com/c/FrenchFriesRL?
Yeah, it should be.
All right, sweet. So /c/FrenchFriesRL as well for YouTube, and it's already seemingly got quite a few followers, and I like watching the videos as they come in to see what you're doing. But if you want to hang out in chat and give the links to any of the mods that are there, in particular see if you can give the link to the subreddit as well, then that would be awesome. And again, give him a follow. It's really amazing work, and again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Good to hear from you.
All right, well, we are going to move into the next section of the show. Just got to wait for old French Fries' face to go away. But we do have a bit of a little bit of a quick topic just to take us transition from the big topic, huge, having French Fries on, really exciting, and he's a really down-to-earth guy. He's been around in OCE Rocket League since the beginning, used to be on the number 3 team in Vidius as well, so when he does say that he is still a professional player, he definitely is. And I wanted to bring in a little bit of a surprise topic for Nolski, and maybe cause a little bit of a question for you. And I wanted to talk more about these international matches. A lot of these things between OCE versus SAM, and that kind of stuff. It generates a lot of questions, and the OCE SAM versus SAM event was amazing. I really hope that we can do OCE versus Asia at some point as well. And I've already reached out to them, and they seem to be really keen to do something like that. So I don't know if RLO are working on that already, but from what I can tell, it probably isn't being worked on, but hopefully something to do for next year, because those guys are really awesome as well. But
Yes.
we did start some drama during the week, and figured it was a good time to talk on
Say
it.
we. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We
You
as
say
in
we. It's pretty much
Nolski
you.
started it, and I finished it. But I wanted to talk about these international tournaments, and in one particular scenario, when OCE versus OCE is happening, and when SAM versus SAM is happening, they're still being played on the US West servers. So they're 180 ping, and for some people who are all the way on the west coast of Australia, 220 ping. And I wanted to, talk about that just, quickly between topics and see what your, statement or opinion is on that one, Nolski.
Oh, the reasoning is very simple. It was to brush the whole tournament with the same paint. Australia was large, South America is larger, so they would have had similar issues as to us as players playing from Western Australia, playing from Victoria, playing from New Zealand, with a different ranging set of pings, some more advantageous than others. The whole idea of the tournament was to pit both regions against each other. So as soon as a lot of people would see it as removing a variable of lag to define who is better, right? But as soon as you remove that variable, you're not so much fixing a problem. You're creating another problem of non-lag. By changing the platform that they're playing on, even against themselves, you can change the outcome. And the outcome being that both teams, both regions are having to struggle with the same disadvantageous ping setting, and both teams, both regions playing against each other would have to deal with the same thing. And that's how it was set up from the beginning, to eliminate sort of like fixing, potential match fixing, to just to make it as fair as possible across all facets, across all teams, all people, all together, which is just a blanket US West it, and that was it. Pretty much.
I think fair is a good way, a bad way of saying it, but I do agree with the idea that, if it is a high ping tournament, to stay on there. I don't think fairness really comes into that. It's not equally unfair, for some players who, as you said, are from further away from the west coast. It's not about fairness, it's about fun for those people, because the difference between 180 ping and 220 is a huge thing for them. But if you go on to that, why would RLO then not do the qualifiers for the top 8 over there on US West as well, if it's about finding that team who is
that
the
makes
best
sense,
on
yeah.
180 ping?
That's another question. But at some point, you have to draw the line between getting the best teams to represent themselves, represent that region, and then once they finally meet each other, then that rule was set in.
It's an interesting one. I would have liked to have seen, if you're going to go with one way to stay consistent and say, it's about finding the best team even on this high ping. But I think in the end it went quite well despite all that. And Legacy proved that they're not only the best on low ping in OCE, but they're best on high ping as well, as they took out the cup. But Corvidae really showed up coming second on high ping, and I think it's their really aggressive play style that really showed through as well on that high ping setting. So even though we don't get a full representation of OCE versus SAM, we do get a bit of an indicator of how they play on that high ping. And I'm actually really surprised by Black Dragons not going through, because I think very similar to Corvidae, they're about playing fast and getting up in your face, and maybe not quite as much, and that's what fell short for them, even though I think on local ping Nox would win most of the time.
But to be fair, Corvidae basically dehumanized them that match with the with that last second goal not going in over the line, and then getting it in overtime, and then securing the win with a last second 0 second goal. I think they had them on tilt after the first map. Yeah. And then it was just basically sealing the deal for the second.
I think Corvidae are definitely known for that, and taking the mantle from the old Control. I know whenever I've versed both Corvidae and Control in the past, it always seems to be some random overtime, just a random pinch goal scored at 0 seconds to send it there, and then they end up getting some overtime. Or I have another good case of against Control in in the Erase ODC a long time ago, back in my day, where the ball looks like it's completely in the net, and yeah, that was that was big tilt factor too. So I do understand Black Dragons falling short there on that one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I did want to keep that short and go into the next point. And for this one, I think everyone is anticipating a little bit of this, and I've mixed up the overlays. There we go. So we wanted to talk about the rOCEt LAN, rOCET LAN, coming up in 2 days on the Saturday. And it's going to be a big one. It's not the biggest LAN ever, but it's big in the fact that it's entirely community run. $1,000 have been put in mostly from local sponsors who sponsored entry for all the teams, as well as individual sponsorship coming out from Justice Robo, as well as an anonymous donor who would prefer not to be named, though I think everyone really knows who that is. But the whole idea, I think, was originally to get this community event going. At the time that it was started, there weren't any real tournaments going on, not major, because Cybergamer had kind of became defunct as everyone had left it.
Yeah, I call it the CG vacuum.
The CG vacuum. And so Justice Robo stepped up, made sure this happened. And as well, he seems to be really keen on LANs, and so do a couple of other people who want to see more LANs and get LAN experience before teams sort of have the opportunity to play for rOCEs, where having some LAN experience will be a big deal. Yep. So that's going to be happening this weekend. Tune in; it's a great event, and it's going to happen over there locally in Sydney, at the Wang Yu LAN Cafe. So if you are wanting to go and watch, get into the rOCEt Discord. Again, someone can put the link to that if they want, and let Justice Robo know that you plan on rocking up and coming to watch midday on Saturday. And we're going to go
Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time.
Yeah, that's for the people who can't actually make it to Sydney within 2 days. AEDT is the time. So it is going to be, I think, what is that, 7 p.m. PST?
I'm not sure.
It's hard with daylight savings now. Someone do the conversions. But that is 1 a.m. There you go, GMT or UTC, because we are in the time zone of UTC plus 11. So hopefully you can convert from there. But it's going to be a good event, and probably the number one team in OCE is going to make it, and that's Gameroos, Nolski.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going somewhere else with that. We have one team in there that is has LAN experience, was the most recent LAN experience, and they're managing to take it out against some of the other teams in that lineup. But Gameroos, I tell you what, they are the underdogs and definitely the surprise package, but still going in ranked first, aren't they?
Yeah, going in ranked 1. They lucked through the open qualifiers, as such, I like to say, to go through. And I would like to go through some predictions with you, Nolski, as well.
Yep.
So I think this first match is actually like a super interesting one. Gameroos versus Atletico, and I think there's interesting things on both sides, especially Atletico, who haven't really been playing or preparing much for this tournament, but they do have previous LAN experience from the ESL packs, and obviously a very good team.
Could you remind the chat who's in this Gameroos lineup?
So in the Gameroos lineup that doesn't exist anymore because we disbanded like a good month ago, we have AOEM, Yummy Cheese Man, and Plitzinator. So the absolute dream team. The only way it could be better is if the Beast had replaced Plitzinator. But it happens.
Or Yummy.
Excuse me? Obviously,
you can't blitz the Plitz, all right?
Obviously not true. The Beast is my hero. He's still amazing, and if he ever comes back to Rocket League, which may happen, on a casual level, at least in the near future. But if he ever does come back, he's
the
an
scene will be
absolute beast.
welcoming with open arms. I believe the Beast is a beast. to avoid the pun, but he's an amazing player.
Yeah, great player, and he's a really nice guy, very quiet and shy as well.
Mhm.
So if you ever do come across him, don't try and make any loud noises because he might curl into a ball or dig his head in the ground. But
Mhm.
this is going to be an interesting match, and as again I said, Atletico haven't really been practicing, but obviously Gameroos haven't really been practicing either. So for obvious reasons. On the same note, they hadn't practiced for the last event, so maybe that is the magical number. But I'm going to leave this one to you. I think it's going to be a very close series, but
Mhm.
I think I would personally lean towards Atletico.
I would do the same, just on the basis that that team has played on land before together, and let's face it, Gameroos haven't been playing together at all apart from that tournament. But you never know. They pulled it out on the day. There's no reason why they can't do it that day. But if you want me to put my money on it, I'd say it's a best of 7, right?
Best of fives, I think.
Best of 5 and then best of 7
grand
final. Okay, so
Best of seven is
definitely
bad.
I would say 3-1 to Atletico.
3-1 to Atletico, and
Yeah.
one thing to note as well, the reason that Gameroos did qualify is solely because I'm a keyboard player, and it seems every single LAN needs to have 2 keyboard players to really get by, because
Mhm.
Legacy have Groovy Grape as well. So next
right.
match is going to be Corvidae versus Legacy, and I do actually have to know. I'm not 100% sure on this format. Justice
Mhm.
Robo has been a bit off this week. He's been in and out of care, and so we I kind of didn't bother him too much. But
Mhm.
this is the assumed format. I know it is a double elim, so it's very likely that this is the format. But
Okay.
next up we have Legacy versus Corvidae.
Okay. When was the last time, if the last time, within 4 weeks, that Corvidae have beaten Legacy?
They actually
It's
did
been.
beat them technically for the rOCEt playoffs, but Legacy were also running Enigma instead of
That's right.
Eren, if I recall. So running
Mhm.
Enigma, and although Corvidae were also running Scuba Steve.
An official sub, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Look, I can't look past Legacy's experience on LAN. Saying that, they did have to go through the losers bracket at PAX.
Yeah.
Whew. Look, I know that Corvidae are struggling. Some are struggling, sorry. But still working at the kinks with Plitz being part of the lineup.
Although Blitz won't be
Um,
playing for them.
oh, geez, that's right. So who they're playing with?
I'm
They're
pretty sure
playing
they're
with
going to be playing
Daisy.
with Daisu.
Oh,
He's definitely
okay.
going to be there in some regards, and so I'm pretty sure he's going as a player.
Okay. Well, that changed a little bit. Look, I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to say Legacy, but it's going to be close. It's going to be 3-2.
You're going 3-2. I think I would probably go 3-0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Legacy, they're coming. It's not the fact that they have like the most LAN experience, but it's just the fact that they're really coming off a big win on their last LAN. And
Mhm.
last time the big issue was Groovy Grape at the start, who started
Yep.
off really cold, really nervous, and I
Yep.
just can't see him being nervous this time. He's been on a $5,000 huge stage, and for context, this is a much smaller stage, 1,000 Australian dollars on the line. It's over at a LAN cafe, no big stage, no big audience, no lights in your face.
Mhm.
And it'll just be whether the one question is whether the PCs, the Macintosh computers that are there, whether people need to get used to them or not. But I think in regards to the Legacy performance, I think I'm personally very confident in them. But that does leave a Atletico versus Legacy winner bracket final.
Yep.
So Atletico, Legacy, the battle of the ages, and I think we definitely need to see that happen again and see if Atletico can really bring this back, because they've been struggle town. But for me, again, the lack of preparation coming out from Atletico, and I don't think they're too really worried. But Bango is essentially running through his exams. He's finishing his exams on the Friday and then traveling. So he hasn't even played any Rocket League this week. And so that's going to be possibly a big issue for them. But we never know.
You never know. Sometimes a break from Rocket League can really firm up some of your basics, I suppose. So he might come back a little bit stronger. They've been playing long enough for him to take a week break and then to be, like, I suppose, re-included in the lineup and perform just as they were before. So I don't have any doubt in their synergy in that wise.
Yeah.
But we're talking, they got a big revenge match to take on Legacy. It's going to be close, I think. At least this time they'll be able to do it without standing up. But I tell you what, if Groovy turns up, there's no one's going to stop him. I don't care who you put in front of him. So I'm going to go 3-2 again.
Yeah,
to Legacy.
I think it's going to be more of a 3-1 for me, but Groovy Grape's going to be far more comfortable over at the LAN cafe. He can put his shoes up on the table, I'm sure.
That's true.
That's a big benefit for Groovy. But that means we've got Legacy in the grand final going in with, I think, a 1-game advantage. But down in the lower bracket, Gameroos versus Corvidae. And I think that's another big matchup to go alongside Gameroos and Atletico, because it's just one of those who knows kind of situations.
Yep. Well, geez, I wonder how Plitz is going to be playing against his team. It's going to be a funny one to watch, especially if it gets casted.
I mean, surely he just wants the money, right? And the glory.
Well, does he get the money from Gameroos or from Corvidae?
Oh, it's true. The match fixing, the collusion happening. Oh, they just throw, we'll give you a 20%er if you lose.
But it's like for a beer.
Yeah. But all jokes aside.
Look, in terms of the game, I would expect Corvidae to take that. I don't know. There's no way of knowing, really. I mean, the lineup for Gameroos is essentially just a sticky tape back together for a tournament again. But I would be cheering for you, Yummy. I'm not gonna lie. I would be cheering for you, but I would expect Corvidae to take that 3-0.
3-0. Wow.
Yeah.
After we beat them twice in clean sets.
I would still expect them to go through. Look, I don't know what you would think. But
I'm actually pretty
paper,
confident. I'm pretty confident in the Gameroos team in that match.
Mm-hmm.
On a personal level, and I'm not one to throw around confidence lightly. I'm normally one to say, I think I'm going to just lose this one. But I think we have a good chance, because one of the big things about me playing recently is I'm playing a lot better because I just don't give a shit. And it doesn't matter. If I win or lose, it makes no difference now. Whether back in the day, I had a lot of pressure on me, and I think it really went into my gameplay. And I think the same can be said for both Emp and Plitz in this, because they're playing for a team that just doesn't exist. And even though we've never really played before, I think the qualifiers were maybe the second time we'd ever played together with that trio. There's really very little pressure on us, and I think Corvidae might have a little bit more expectation on. They're definitely capable of winning, but I would like to say that from my perspective, I think we would take it 3-1 or 3-2. But I'm going to
be playing Batmobile.
I will be playing Batmobile, of course.
That's 3-0 for sure then.
3-0 for sure for Corvidae. All right. So then we've got Corvidae versus Atletico, and that ends up being good because they haven't versed each other yet in our predictions. So we got another interesting one. I think that Corvidae is going to be outclassed here, especially because they're not running their most consistent current lineup.
Yep. I wouldn't have to agree with that 100%, as much as you don't like me doing that, you know what I mean? But I would be very surprised if Atletico wouldn't be able to take that match out. Very surprised.
Yeah,
Even
so
if it was against Corvidae or Gameros, to be honest, whichever goes through, I would still expect to see a grand final of a rematch of Legacy and Atletico once again.
you predicting that to be close at all, or
I'll be generous. I'll say 3-1.
generous 3-1 coming out from Nolski? No, you Corvidae guys. I hope you're in the chat. You know, a little bit of here's your little one token that Nolski's giving you. But that does end up with a
To
grand.
be fair, actually, actually, no, never mind. Never mind. We'll move on.
That puts us in the grand final of Legacy versus Atletico. So the rematch of ages, but this time Legacy coming in with a 1-game advantage in this best of 7 as well. So an interesting matchup, and as we know by this point, Groovy Grape is clearly warmed up and is going to be on fire. So that's going to be it's going to be tough for Atletico.
Well, he's got a lot to live up to in a final stage, Groovy Grape. And I wonder, last time I called it the reverse sweep with a game up, it actually happened with Abyss and Creed. I would pay good money to see a reverse sweep from Atletico, but if I put my head to it, it's that's a legacy. That's a legacy at least 4-2.
4-2 with that 1-game advantage. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's probably a 4-1. But of course, that's with Gameroos in the grand final. So, obviously, and that's it. So Legacy would be the champion, and Atletico the number 2. And that actually brings into a good point to discuss, because even now, 2 days out from the LAN, and I think I've asked a few times, there might be an update. Let me quickly check that. There might indeed be an update. No, we still do not have the actual numbers for the prize pool distribution. 2 days out from the LAN, where a lot of these teams, and in fact my team, are paying about individually $200 each. So AOEMP and Blitzinator. AOEMP obviously has a little bit of money to his name because he's won some tournaments. And that's literally, he just emptied out his PayPal balance to be able to come. And Plitz is digging into a fund to get to EU. And we're sort of just hoping that the, prize pool distribution is at least fair enough for us. But I think that's a really difficult situation, because we don't know if we're investing all this money just to get nothing back. I think that would be unfair, because one of the things I have been told is that from Justice Robo is that it will be a 70-30 prize pool between first and second, and hopefully that does get sorted out. We actually Bizer has messaged me and said there might be a bit of a different split, a heavy split for one, but then just a little bit coming out from third and fourth. So
yeah, I would hope that there would be. I'm pretty sure I've said this before. I would hope that there would be at least half the prize pool for first, and then the rest split accordingly to second, third, and fourth. I mean, they did make it through to the tournament, to the LAN, through the qualifiers. The top 4 teams should be getting some sort of recognition, as much as is possible, I suppose.
it is
to say that you wouldn't get nothing out of it, at the very least, you would be getting experience, I suppose. There's not much in the way of monetary compensation.
Well, of course, we wouldn't be traveling at all if we didn't think it would be fun.
That's of course, yeah.
No matter what we do, we're never going to make a profit, because even if we were to win, say, the prize pool distribution wouldn't be there. But one of the things to note is it is a community-run event. We're trying to have fun. There is hopefully a prize pool distribution announcement soon, and I think it should be a great day. I've got the 2 boys, Blitz and Emp, going to be hanging out at my house for the weekend, sleeping out on the couch and keeping each other warm.
Yeah, I'm really upset I can't make it out. I won't be able to, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should drive up with with Justice Rober. He's doing a drive up from where he lives, a bit north of Melbourne. I think 3 hours north of Melbourne. So if you,
that's a fair drive for me. I tell you what, my car will not be able to make that.
excellent. But yeah, so that's going to be a great event. I'll be there, and you know, we'll probably get knocked out first round. So maybe I'll come in and I can help out with some casting if people were wanting it. Otherwise, I'll be hanging out. We'll make sure we go out for some beers after the event and generally have a good time. So if you are interested in going, make sure you do. It's going to be just fun. Going to be some good experience for the teams, and hopefully we'll see some more like ESL level lands next year. And this is sort of just a precursor to that.
Yep.